Good morning, and thank you to you wonderful subscribers. It means a great deal. And to those of you who haven't subscribed yet, please do. It would make a great deal also. Now, what I want to talk to you about today is paragraphs. I previously created a video about chapters, and I'll put a link to that so you can click on that, or you can look for it in my video list. If we go to my channel on your desktop, you've got the home button, you click on the playlist, and one of them is writing and formatting a manuscript. And I'll be doing lots of different videos on this subject because it's really the part that I enjoy the most. I mean, I enjoy all of it, but writing takes up a lot of my time, so it's nice to have a break and do some lowish content books or children's books before going back to the long form books, if you like, view book chapters. Now, I'll be adding to this playlist all the time, and to all the playlists ideally. So simply, I mean, we're talking about creating a simple paragraph here. You know, if we're talking about going through a whole book, you know, we're going to need some time. But yeah, this is how to create a basic paragraph, and there's no laws, there's no real rules, it's just what people accept. You know, how many sentences are in a paragraph. There's a topic sentence to start with, and it's basically like we've done with chapters. The whole chapter is a story, a mini story, which is part of the bigger story. And it's the same with the paragraph. It's kind of like a mini story, or subject, depending on what type of book you're creating, which is part of the bigger story, which again is part of the bigger or the whole book. So everything's broken down, and it makes it easier for people to read little bite-sized chunks. So there's usually a topic sentence to start off that paragraph, and then there's a series of maybe two, three, whatever, sentences continuing to talk about the subject that topic sentence has outlined. And then there's a concluding sentence. So you've got, like I say, it's like a whole book. It's like condensing a little book, which is part of the bigger book. Now, I like adventure and travel and things like that, so I've just based it on that for you to get an idea. So this paragraph is consisting of a topic sentence. This is how we're starting the paragraph off. Wild camping next to rivers can be exciting. That's how we're starting this off. Now, we need some supporting sentences, because that on its own really isn't a paragraph. It's barely a sentence. We go to supporting sentences. So, wild camping next to rivers can be exciting. If you are lucky, fish and other wildlife can be observed. That's one supporting sentence. Grass, trees and other vegetation will encourage you to investigate your surroundings. That's the second sentence. But see, we're keeping the whole thing in a subject. We're keeping it into this wild camping next to rivers. And if we go to the third sentence here, if all that is not enough, the fresh air and physical activity will have you feeling on top of the world. So what we've done here is I've created wild camping next to rivers can be exciting, followed by three other sentences. Now I'm going to use the third sentence as the concluding sentence because it just fits right. Right, so when it comes to indentation, this is important at the beginning of every paragraph. Again, there's no hard and fast rule, but you don't want it looking ridiculous like this, too big. You don't want it looking almost non-existent like this, and somewhere in between like that. Now, if I was to look at that, I would go, okay, that's like 3 letters width, and that gives me a bit of an idea. But if you read the information here, typically, the first line indent should be no smaller than the current point size. So a paragraph set in 12-point fonts. So it'll be between 12 and 48 points, 72 points to an inch. So that works out 0.17 to 0.67 of an inch. I usually go to about half an inch. And that's pretty much it for me. That's quite standard, but really you can look into that and see if you can figure out the best indent size for your book. So we've understood the indent, basically. And if I go to this tab here in Word and I drag it over to about half an inch, That's pretty much where I like it. Now, because I've set that there, when I start the next paragraph, it starts me in the exact same spot. Now, next paragraph. Finding the ideal tent pitch can be fun and exciting, and then so on. So you can see how there's two different sort of subjects. We're still talking about camping, but there's a lot of full stops in here. There's sentences in here, but we can make it a bit more fluid. If I move this tab along here to 1/2 inch, the corrected paragraph. While camping next to rivers can be exciting. Now I've put a comma in here instead of a full stop. While camping next to rivers can be exciting, and if you are lucky, fish and other wildlife can be observed. Not only that, but grass, trees and other vegetation will encourage you to investigate your surroundings. And if all that is not enough, the fresh air and physical activity will have you feeling on top of the world. That's much, much better than lots of full stops. And it's still all there. So yeah, I hope you get the idea there with paragraphs. Like I say, just try to look at them as mini stories in mini related stories in a bigger related story, which is the chapter, which is then part of a bigger or the whole related story. In another video, we'll talk about sentences themselves.